What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. So the Clippers definitely have options in regards to their final roster spot. They're definitely, they definitely have options in regards to that because they have more than one avenue that they can take. They just need to really figure out what they want to do. Now, I was reading the reports online about this in regards to their final roster spot. And, to me, that final roster spot, they have some flexibility there. They can, just pretty much either give somebody more minutes, until they find somebody pretty much, or, pretty much just go out and get another piece, added to their roster. You don't have to necessarily be a big name or anything like that, but they do still have time to add another piece to their roster where they can, where it can make them more well-rounded and a complete team. So now, me personally, you've heard me say about the big man situation. That's definitely huge. And I think if I were the Clippers, if they're looking to add somebody to their final roster spot, for their team or whatever like that, the option that they do have is to go out there and look for another big man. Because Zubac, you can't really just trust the fact that he'll stay healthy and hold up, and then, he'll be all the big man that you need, because you need more depth in that position. Moses Brown, I think, and, one of the pieces that they might have coming off the bench might be okay, but at the same time, you need somebody else, that you can kind of rely on that position. And to me, the center position is one of those positions where, you always have to have backup, because you never know, big men, their knees go quicker and their body aches more, and they're, more susceptible to injuries, when they're being very active, at times more than, a smaller player. Because you got to be careful with a big man, because like I said, injuries can happen very quickly with, 7 foot. I mean, injuries come quick with anybody, but I mean, at the same time, a 7 footer, you really got to be precautious, because, there's, like I said, they're susceptible to injuries more, and you want to have enough depth in that position, because you want to be interchangeable in that position. And right now, I think the Clippers are really not interchangeable in that position. I think they're just adequate, decent in that position. And like I said, I think, they added another big man, which, now Zubac, I've heard, just reading, the sites and everything like that, sportsillustrated.com, you can look at that in regards to just, this situation and Zubac. We, as I was speaking about, Zubac might have suffered an injury, and it's been undisclosed. Nobody has spoken about it too much, because it happened over there, him playing Euro basketball. And see, that's my thing, with him being, injured possibly, definitely looking into that center position is something they need to do for that final roster spot, because they can actually add somebody there that gives them a little bit more depth, where they're a little bit more well-rounded, as I said, as a team. And Zubac he's usually dependable. I'm not saying he's not, because he has been dependable. He has been healthy for the most part. He's been one of the most healthiest pieces there, on the Clippers. So they have to really give Zubac some credit for that. But after giving him the contract, $33 million this offseason, and then there's the possibility that, he might, be injured and, have injuries, and then the season's about to start, that's kind of scary for a team like the Clippers, because they have high hopes of everybody being there. They have high hopes of everybody being 100% healthy, or as healthy as possible, to go out there and try to push for the best and win this thing. So, I mean, if that's the case, then, you definitely want to have more depth in that center position, because as the Clippers, as good as they are and as much pieces as they have, that's where they're the thinnest at in regards to position, the number 5 position. They're very thin in that center position. And when you're thin in that center position, it really a scary position to be thin in, because you want to be, you want to have the most depth in that area, because that's where, a lot of your rebounds, second chance points come from. That's where you get a lot of, physicality in the paint, and that's that's the position that's very vital right now, because not only because they only have Zubac and they don't have Serge Ibaka no more, and they don't have DeMarcus Cousins anymore. Zubac is really the only main point of contact. And when you have one guy like him who really hasn't even lived up to expectation yet, to the expectation that you think that he can be, it's really scary for the Clippers to put all your hope into this guy because he hasn't lived to the potential yet. But at the same time, he's really all you have. And he does know the culture. He does know what it's like to be a Clipper because he's been on the Clippers for a while. But at the same time, you definitely still want to add depth in the area because anything can happen. Zubac, like I said, he's possibly injured now. And that's what they were saying on SportsIllustrated.com. Look for that position to be filled. Get more depth in that position because that's the position they're most lightest in regards to depth. So if they can find a way to maybe add somebody else there, find somebody else, maybe in the off season, you still got time. There's still a possibility, to put somebody else in that final roster spot. And why not let it be a center position? Because, like I said, you need depth in all areas if you want to win championships. And like I said, with Zubac, he doesn't really have an interchangeable piece that they can just honestly take out and put back in and say, hey, this guy can fill in for Zubac's spot plus more. They don't really have that. So with that being said, they need to really find a way to fill that void. And there's, some pieces out there. There really isn't much to choose from because a lot of them have been picked over, but at the same time there is opportunity to find somebody else to fill that spot and just get some more depth in the area. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a big name or anything like that. It just needs to be a name, period, so they can have some interchangeable pieces with Zubac, because honestly, when I think about it, they don't have that now because they had it before with, Zubac. They had Ibaka, and then they had Isaiah Hartenstein. You see what I'm saying? Then they had DeMarcus Cousins, which I think they definitely should try to look into, bringing him back if possible, as I said a few videos ago. So, they need to definitely, look into that one specific area more than any, because that's the one specific area or the one specific weakness that I would say that the Clippers do have. Their big man is not like other players' big men. Like if they had to play the Warriors in a 7-game series, there are times where I would take Kevon Looney over Zubac, and most of the time I would, because Kevon Looney is a little bit more skilled and he uses his size a lot better to his advantage when he's on the floor, even though he's not super or not even nowhere being close to athletic. And that's what Zubac has to learn to do. Zubac has to learn to become a Kevon Looney type player, play within your means, but be effective when you're doing it. When you're in position to score, be effective when you're in position to, make a turnaround in the game, because there's times where the offense is flailing, and sometimes your big man can be the one that can help bring you back if you could dump the ball into the paint and he can go to work. So and I'm not saying Zubac can't do that. He just has to become more familiarized with doing that so he could be that effective for the Clippers, like the way Kevon Looney was effective for the Warriors in the playoffs and in the finals, the way he was. So there again, as I said, getting more depth in that area can't hurt. So let's see if the Clippers will definitely go after that and see if that's one position that they will fill and add more depth in. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Check my other videos if you haven't. And hey, Khaliis out.